Hello everyone, this is Rui Almeida and welcome to this video tutorial about using JavaScript and PHP to make a simple web activity logger. To follow this tutorial there is no need to be an expert programmer, but it will be easier if you have the basics of programming client-server web applications. I will be using jQuery, that is a cross-browser JavaScript library that simplifies client-side scripting of HTML. In this tutorial, the client script will be monitoring browser user events and sending the information to the server. To do so, I will be using Ajax, and the data will be encoded in JSON format. Ajax allows you to make requests and get responses from the server in an asynchronous way. The communication and data transfer is made in background, and so the user will not notice any activity or web page reloading or anything like that. JSON, JavaScript object notation, is a text-based and human-readable format for data interchange. It comes from JavaScript and allows the representation of data structures, objects, and arrays. Later on this tutorial you will see an example of a JSON structure. I'm going to make a simple application that will track the mouse movement of the user on the browser and store it on the server. Then another component will get the data back and show it on the browser. Let's start by creating an HTML file. Let's call it index. Let me just delete some unnecessary code that is placed here by the default template. And now we must add a reference to the jQuery library. Let me copy this folder here. Okay, I'm placing the folder here, and we have the jQuery code, and we must add a scripting reference to this file. Script, and the type is text. JavaScript, and the source is jQuery 1.9.1.js. Okay. Something is missing here. Okay. Now we have a reference to jQuery and we can start using it to make the activity logger. Let me just create the main script. And now we can use jQuery to handle the mouse move event. Mouse move and the handling function. That receives event arguments. Okay. Let me just make a test to see if everything is okay. I will use the browser console window to log some event information. Let's log the X mouse pointer position. Okay, event page X plus the Y and the event page Y to track the mouse Y coordinate. So if everything is okay, we will see the mouse coordinates on the browser console window. If you use Chrome, you can press Ctrl+Shift+J to open the console window. Okay, Ctrl+Shift+J, and there we have the X and Y coordinates appearing as I'm moving the mouse. As you can see, I'm moving the mouse, and you can see here in the console window the X and Y coordinates of the position of the mouse pointer. We also need an object array to store the sequence of mouse pointer positions. So the position is made of 3 elements. Let's store the time, the X coordinate, and the Y coordinate. So we have only missing the time, and we need to get the elapsed time in milliseconds. To do so, we need to get the starting moment. Let's declare the variable start, new date, and let's get the time in milliseconds. Get time. Okay, so let's calculate the elapsed time equal new date get time in milliseconds minus start the starting time, and now we can use the elapsed time. Okay, that's it. And now we just push the position to the object. Okay. We must also create a Boolean variable to say if we want to log or not to log the positions. And we only log the information if the variable log has the value of true. If log, okay, okay. We do not need this line here, so we can comment. So now let's make the handling function for the click event. Click a function with no arguments. Okay. Okay, so we will be using Ajax. And we will put here some parameters. So we need a first parameter called global, and we need it to be false, just to be able to handle some Ajax events. One second parameter, that is the type, and we need it to post because the default is get post. That's it. We must force the pages not to be cached on the browser. The data type is JSON. And the data to post. An action. An action to write. And the mouse pointer object, let's call it XY, and encode it in JSON. Okay. We will not use a replacer, and we can define 2 spaces. Let me just add another parameter, that is the URL, and we will create a file called read write.php. Okay. And finally, we need the function to handle the complete action. Complete function, no arguments. We can throw a message and stop logging. Okay, so this first click handling is complete, and now let's add the PHP file. Let's call it read write. Okay. We will switch between 2 actions, and the variable is the request action. And so if the first case is write, we will create the JSON file. Put contents, the name of the file, xy.json, and request xy. And we can break now. Now let's test it to see if it is working okay. Okay. Let's move the mouse and click. Okay. So there we have the JSON file. We have the elapsed time in milliseconds, we have the x coordinate, and we have the y coordinate, and the list of all the points. And now we can make the code for the second case. Case read we get the contents of the file. It's the xy.json. And we can send the data back to the browser. Echo JSON encode and break. Finished. We only want to do this in case of logging. And if we are not logging, we want the data back from the server. So the action is the reading action. And we want to handle success. And receive the data back. Sorry. So we can stop logging. Start logging. And give a message. Let's also parse the data in JSON format. Let's create a JSON object. JSON parse data. Now let's loop through the object. Oh, something's wrong here. Okay. And we need a 2D canvas to show the mouse positions. So let's go to the beginning and create the canvas here. Create elements. Called canvas. Okay. Let's define the attributes. Set attribute, the name of the attribute, the width, and the value. The width of the all document. Okay. And the same for the height of the document. Now let's append the canvas to the document. And now we can use the canvas to show the data. Let's first clean the object. So we can store new data on it. Now let's get the context of the canvas. Context. Get context. It's the two-dimension context. Okay. Now we can clean the canvas. Starting from point 0 to the entire canvas. And finally, let's draw a dot for each mouse position. Starting on element X, dot X, and element Y, and a 4 by 4 dot. So let's see if this is running properly. Okay. No. Okay, we have an exception. Let me see. Oh, okay. Let's see it now. Okay, run it. Bring the console. Move the mouse. Store data. And get. We have another exception. Okay. Okay, and let's see if it is working now. Run it. Let's move the mouse a little bit. Let's store the data on the server. And now let's get the data back. There it is. Move the mouse, save data, and get data back. Move the mouse, save data, and get data back. So the tutorial is finished. I will let you know the link to download the code to try for yourself, and I hope you have enjoyed. Bye bye.